Hey, how's everybody doing out there on a Monday night? It's raining down here. I got a couple of things to talk about this time. Talk about first what's going on in America. I can't believe that with everything that's going on, a man can stand up and literally just lie through his teeth. And there's people out there that'll swear to God it's the truth. I mean, they think they're going to overturn the election in Arizona. The only way that election's going to be can be overturned, or they overturn it anywhere, the presidential election, is going to take military force. And I honest to God don't think the military generals are that stupid to get involved in politics. You never know, though. But I mean, it's just the outrageous lies and the people that are leading the party. You got Getz, who's should be under indictment but isn't, and you've got what's her name, Green, who should be committed and she isn't. So I have no idea who's in charge, and that's disgusting. I mean, it makes us the laughing stock of the world. I mean, people down here would be laughing a lot harder than they are, except for the problems that we have down here right now. They can't see anything funny, but they watch the United States and they just can't believe what's going on up there. I mean, it's Hitler would have trouble getting to believe some of the bullshit that's coming out of there right now. And Hitler was a fantastic liar, a great motivator of humanity, but Trump's not a motivator. He's not a motivational speaker. He's worse than I am. He sits around, he stutters, he repeats himself, he loses his train of thought. I mean, he's worse at it than I am, and I'm pretty bad now, and we're the same age. I really, I say this, at one point in time, I actually had admired the man until I started doing some in-depth studying of the man, and realized what just a complete ass he is, a complete phony. And he's got American people believing everything he says. That's crazy. It's insanity, And that's the definition of insanity, to keep saying or doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. He keeps claiming that the election is a fraud. There's no proof. He keeps getting defeated in court over and over again. But he keeps trying. That's the definition of insanity. Keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. It's not going to happen, If it does, there's going to be civil war, blood in the streets. Maybe that's what he wants. He lives on chaos. He can't live in a reasonable manner. He can't live without the chaotic situations around him. That's because they disguise the fact that he doesn't know what he's talking about. That's the whole thing. That's the whole purpose of chaos. They keep the people that are listening to him from figuring out he hasn't got a friggin' clue as to what the hell is going on. He screwed up the response to the pandemic, and now I hear they want to give him some credit for the vaccine. Give the government some credit for the vaccine, yes. I don't think he had much to do with it. Personally, I mean, he hasn't got an empathetic bone in his body that he would give a shit about people, especially the average person. Pardon me, my hair is really long now. The average person in the street, I don't think he'd really care one way or the other, about that. He's just so self-centered, egotistical, narcissistic, whatever you want to call him. He's just nuts. And I don't know how to, I once said that that's the one president in the world that I never want to meet in person, because I don't think I could refrain from punching him in the face. And I mean that. That's the one human being on the planet that I don't think I could restrain myself from punching him in the face. Because he's just so stupid. I know it's a ridiculous thing to do. I'd get in a lot of trouble for it, and it's not really worth it. But I mean, he's just so stupid, and people believe him. And that's the problem. It's a problem, worldwide problem right now. I mean, you have complete chaos within the Republican Party, and there is no strong leader emerging. It's not Trump, okay? He's not a strong leader. He'll eat himself to death in the next 4 years, hopefully. Uh, but he's not a strong leader. He's a weak, cowardly little pissant, you know. Um, we have the same problem down here. It's a different story down here. It's not the leadership's there. It's strong. It's bad. It's horrible, but it's there. Uh, Here, it's the people. We have protests all over the country. And you know what happens in protests? The gangs infiltrate the protesters, and then the violence starts, the looting and crime and everything else goes skyrocketing. You know, rape, everything else goes on, and then protesters get blamed for it. They said they met with protesters down here. Duque, the president down, he met with some of them. And the problem you have there is there's no central leadership. All the guys, including I don't remember his name now, the guy the ex-rebel that they say is the leading candidate to win the next election. They're all maintaining an extremely low profile. Nobody wants to step up and lead these people, and that's what they need. They need somebody to bring them together. If somebody was out there and could bring them together, collectively bring them together, they could get anything they want. Anything they want. There's enough of them out there that are pissed off. You know, it's like the United States, where you have all these fractional people within the Republican Party. If the Republican Party could come up with a leader, and not one that's going to sit there and lie and say that Trump actually won the election when he didn't. Okay, if they had somebody come up and say, "All right, I believe such and such, and I think we should do this and this and this, and let's negotiate with it. Let's sit down and let's talk and let's get some dialogue going. Let's get this done." You know, I think that's what will make America great again. Trump's plans for making America great again are isolating the country so that he can sit in his little fiefdom and people have to come and kiss his ring. You know, I mean, he gets off on that. He gets off on people having to speak to him to get something done, you know. And he didn't get anything done. I mean, he got a bunch of people I still look at that. I don't know all the facts. All right, I've read a lot of stuff about the January 6th march and everything like that, and the invasion of the Capitol building. And I know a lot of people have been arrested and whatnot, and they'll tell you that they believe Trump wanted them to do that, but nobody can come forward and say that's exactly what he said to do. You know, he inferred. Guys, I mean, if somebody could come up and find something that he really said that was more than an inferment to do something, that was, let's say, let's do this. I want you to go in there and hang Pence. All right, now if you had that, you could arrest him for treason. And I think it was a treasonous act, and I think that these people that are being arrested on trespassing charges should be charged with treason. But, you know, I don't know the law. I'm just saying what I feel. You know, and I don't know how many other people feel the same way about it, you know, to sit down and say, okay, we should charge Trump with treason. And he's real smart now. He's got all these idiots that are kissing his ring. And I don't know, why would you give up? And if you wanted to be president of the United States, like Cruz or Ted Cruz or any of these other Republicans out there that at one point in time had decided they wanted to be president of the United States, why would you give that up so that this fat prick could be president again? What's wrong with you? What has he got? You know how he operates. It reminds me of J. Edgar Hoover, the leader of the FBI way back when, in Nixon and everything. He had a little black book, and it was claimed that he had something on everybody, and in the Senate, and the Congress, and everywhere else. He had something on everybody. I don't know if that's true. Yeah, you know, but it was said that was what happened. I said, and then that Johnson, when Hoover died, Johnson inherited that little black book. Again, I don't know whether that's true or not. Someday maybe we'll find out. But that's how he operates. Like, he's got a little book on everybody out there. and he's blackmailing these people to do what he wants. If the people are that stupid that they believe the lie, and they're going to you know, keep the party in line, believe this lie, don't do anything, don't negotiate anything, don't do anything, we'll get it back. We're going to win it all back. You're going to win it all back, and you're not going to have anything when you win it back, because you're not going to have a country when you win it back. If you win it back, you're not going to have a country. You're going to have a country that's so divided. I think one of the things that people should look at is if Biden maintains a good record, I don't think Biden should run for re-election. And I think that the Democrats need somebody to come forward now, too. And I mean, they've got their own share of whack jobs. This AOC, what's her name? Cassia, something or another. She's not exactly all there. You get some whack jobs on both sides of the. And what happened to politicians, man? These well-educated, well-spoken individuals that, whether they were thieves or whatever, they at least presented a leadership quality. Nobody's got a leadership. Trump's leadership qualities. He's got a fat ass and a big mouth. Oh yeah. Down here, the president is using police. He's using special forces units of the military that were trained by us, which is a historical history of the United States. We go in and we support a party in power because they control some sort of natural resource like oil or something or whatever. And they turn around and they say, okay, we'll share it with you. Don't worry about it. We'll give you a good break on it. Just help us out. Train our police force. And then the police forces and the military turn into these kill squads. Perón, what the hell is his name in Chile? All over South America. You had, here we go again, my little mind farts. The leader, the guy in Iraq that kicked out, they started with the Shah. They supported the Shah. He left and they came in and they put this other jack off in power. Oh no, the Shah left and the Muslims took over. That was Iran. I'm sorry, I apologize. Boy, need to wake up. But they put these people in power, and then all of a sudden they think they're stronger than we are, and the next thing you know, and that we need them so much, we're never going to get rid of them. They can do whatever they want, and we end up getting rid of them, and now we have chaos over there. I mean, the attacking Iraq is what gave Iran the ability to take their money from their military and put it into nuclear weapons. Simple as that. Otherwise they'd still be fighting each other and we wouldn't have to worry about it too much. That was Bush, number 2. Stupidity. I can't, I don't come up with these ideas. I didn't come up with the instability idea with the moving the soldiers around and everything like that on my own. I got that from, reading and articles and whatnot and other people. And then, it's true. You look at the situation, it's true. Well, it's like down here right now, they've got a leader that they're supporting that does not have the public support. Has no public support whatsoever. He's considered to be a moron, not a moron. He's just, they don't like him. I mean, how he got elected the first time was because everybody loved Uribe, because Uribe had done, Uribe, I think that's how I may be pronouncing it wrong, but anyhow, they loved the guy because of his attachment to Uribe, because Uribe was considered a hero of the revolution. He was the one that went out and beat the rebels into submission, killed them, rather than, talk to them. Didn't want to negotiate with them like Santos did. I read an article today which said that at the peace accord in 2016, the rebels did everything they were supposed to do, and the government has done nothing. That's what happened the last time they had a peace agreement. This country loves war. It's another place that this country needs chaos. The poverty level in this country is so high that and there's such a separation between those that have and have not down here. It's worse than it is in the United States, and it's pretty damn high in the United States too. But it's worse down here, and you can see it every day. I mean, I told you when I first came to this country, one of the things that amazed me was I could walk down a block, watch buildings falling down, people hanging in the doorway, a real slum, and then go around the corner and it's all fancy apartments and everything, with doormen and armed guards or whatever, and it doesn't make any sense to me, Still doesn't make any sense. It still exists. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But Duque is a miserable leader. He was better. The only reason he was better than Santos was, well, first of all, Santos couldn't run again. But the reason he was better than Santos was because he wasn't as boring a speaker. He didn't have a monotone. He didn't put you to sleep when his generals didn't fall asleep behind him when he was talking. Didn't that's something that I don't think any public speaker really realizes, is that if you're talking to somebody, and this happens with me, I'm sure, as people turn off and on, come back and forth on this thing, that if you're talking to somebody for any length of time, you've got about 15 minutes maximum before they lose interest in what you're saying. They're listening, but they're not hearing. Or they're hearing and not listening. I don't know which one would describe it better, but in other words, they're not paying attention to you. They look like they're paying attention to you. They look like they're listening. They can tell you what you're saying, but they're not listening to you. And that's a problem with public speakers. And I'm sure it is with me, because I wander. I forget what I'm saying every once in a while, and then people just go, "Oh, I don't want to listen to this guy anymore." You listen to this. What's going on tonight? I mean, I sit here and I'm talking about two countries, and I don't know which one I'm talking about sometimes. The country I'm talking about, I say down here, is Colombia. It's the city of Medellin is where I live, which is the second largest city in the country. There's been protests. My wife was supposed to be home earlier today. She was afraid to leave earlier because of protests on the roads. Of course, the weather came in and I guess knocked some of it down and whatnot. But they don't even know what they're protesting, because they say they have no leadership, and all they're doing is what happens anytime you get a group of protesters and it turns into a destructive situation with the police come in and everything like that. The only get hurt are the people in the neighborhoods. The poor people get hurt, and that's 60% of this country. Or I think it's higher than that. I think it's 71% of this country lives below what is considered to be a poverty line. And I worry about that because we kind of live pretty good, even though I don't have a lot of money. I don't have money in the bank or anything like that. I live from check to check, but my check it's there every week, so far every month rather. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know what they're going to do down here, and it worries me. I don't know what's going to happen in the United States. It worries me. And then I sit down and say, I'm 75 years old. What the fuck do I care? Whatever happens, by the time it gets around to me, I'm going to be dead. Or if they shoot me tomorrow, what's the difference? I've lived a pretty good life. Speaking of life, you like the little thing I got growing here, or what do you got to say about that? Nothing. All right. Forget I said anything. I've reached the point with everything that's going on right now. I mean, I'm more isolated than I've ever been, and I gave up a lot to come down here, and I don't think my wife remembers that. I don't think my wife remembers that I gave up my ability to go fishing every day, my ability to live my own life and take care of her. And, she had her own life. She still has her own life. I don't have a life anymore. I sit here in front of the computer about 5 to 6 hours a day. I do my wood carvings, my wood burnings and whatnot like that, and every time I order some wood or something like that, I get a dirty look from her, so I don't know. Not sure I'd still be married if I was living in the United States, but that's a story for another day. Maybe. I doubt it, though. Too old to worry about it, you know? Um, like I said, I mean, down here they need a leader. The United States needs a, well, they have Biden, but I mean, they need a leader. I mean, if you want to get rid of Biden, if you want the Republican Party wants to, they need a leader that has a has an IQ of you know, a reasonable IQ, a reasonable ability, some empathy, you know, a conscience. I've said this before. I challenged Trump to a IQ test anytime he wants to take it with me. You know, I'm no genius. I'm far from it. But I'll take the IQ test with him. You know, I'll take a common sense test with him because I know he doesn't have any of that. You know, I've never played golf in my life, so I'm not going to say, you know, I could beat him in golf, but I can sure kick his ass. That much I know, and I'm like arthritic back and everything else. So, you know, so but I know I can do that because I know how to fight dirty. He doesn't know how to fight, so he's a coward. That's how he acts. You know, the whole Republican Party is a bunch of cowards. And you got I don't even know where the president of Colombia is right now. I've been told he's still in the country, that he hasn't, you know, he's not hiding out anywhere. But I mean, he's not in Bogota, from what I understand. He's not in his offices in the capital. He's someplace else. He doesn't go around talking to people in person, you know. But either do his opposition is, you know, they use the pandemic down here a lot, you know, and it's serious. We had let's see, we had 15,000 new cases yesterday, and over 500 people died yesterday from this disease. And last week we had yeah, I'll give it to you. Last week there were 117,797 new cases, and 3,391 people died. That's what worries me. I don't worry about the new cases. I worry about people dying, you know. And these protests are just spreading the pandemic. They're just spreading the disease. I mean, they're preventing people from going out and getting vaccinated, you know. It's a horrible situation. I mean, you look at what they use. I mean, it's in this country, in America, there was something like last weekend, there were 9 mass shootings. It's unheard of. You know, I don't know whether it's like I said once before, you know, they talked about school shootings. We had school shootings back in the day. I'm talking about 50, 60 years ago when I was in school. They had mass shootings. They just never made the newspapers. You know, kids walked in, shot a teacher or something like that. That didn't make the newspapers. They didn't let anybody know about that. You know, they kept it low key. You know, the theory was that you didn't give these people a voice. You know, these killers and whatnot, these mass shooters, these whack jobs. You didn't give them a voice. You didn't give them their 15 minutes of fame. And all of a sudden, TV came around. And TV is worse than yellow journalism was back in the day. Pulitzer and I forget. Hearst were going at it with their what they called yellow journalism. It's a dirty game, you know, and they tell all you see is the violence on. There's not real news. I mean, you know, even the political news is all controversial. I don't know how that works out, really. You know, I don't believe there's fake news. I just believe it's selective news. You know, at least from the legitimate news services. You know, I mean, so that's like you say you listen to Trump and he says that there's voter fraud. There's voter fraud. So far, the only thing I've seen reported are a couple of Republicans, and one in Pennsylvania, and I think one in Southwest someplace. Might have been Arizona. I'm not sure. Who voted for dead relatives. You know. 2 people that they can prove, you know, that they were arrested, they're charged with fraud. But the Republicans, that doesn't mean the Democrats aren't doing it. I mean, look, You want to see corruption? Go study Tammany Hall in New York City when the Democrats were in power. That'll show you something. That's a whole different ball game. That's what Trump wants to go back to. That's making America great again, having the ability to have one man be in control of everything. What he says goes. And every leader in the world wants to be that. You got the bus driver. I don't think he's in control of anything. I mean, he's definitely not in control of the money. Chavez's daughter's got $2.1 billion of the country's money stashed someplace, so she doesn't give a shit what happens, She's partying in New York City all the time. Chavez has got gold hidden someplace. That's what they're doing. They're raping the country. I don't know what they do down here. If Duque is raping the country or not, I don't think he's smart enough to do that. That's the thing, It's like Duque is like Trump. Their IQs are like someplace in the gutter, someplace. They're not smart. They don't deserve the right to be called a leader or a world leader or anything like that. Trump is not a world leader. He's not even a business leader. He's a failed business leader who wants to be a world leader. Duque is just Well, one thing, all our politicians are basically come out of Georgetown University down here in Columbia, the ones that go to school in America. And they all go to school in America, whether they say they can speak English or not. They all speak English. They all speak fluent English because they had money and they went someplace else to go to school because it takes you so damn long. You graduate college down here, you're 26, 27 years old. And you only have a few years to actually work because when you get to be 60, before you get to be 60, they'll fire you. They don't like old people down here. That's what they stick you in a corner someplace and then please don't talk. Oh God. I won't say that Trump's over the hill by age or not. I think he was never smart. I think he's quite stupid. I think he's just a manipulator. That's a trait. That's not it's an instinctive move. That's not something that requires a great deal of education or intelligence to manipulate people. You can do it. You can be the dumbest person on the planet and still manipulate people. Look at Maduro and the bus driver that's leading Venezuela. He's a Colombian bus driver that's president of Venezuela right now. I don't know. I'm so disappointed with the world. But I haven't got much longer to worry about it, I'm not saying I have a death wish or I know when I'm going to die. I just got I got an idea I'm not going to live 20 more years, Not that if I do, I sure as hell hope I got, they come up with something to deal with some of the arthritis and stuff I have because I sure as hell don't want to be feeling the way I do every morning now for the next 20 years. I don't know what else to talk. Oh, good God. My dog is here. Antonia is here. Old stinky butt, we call her, because she just farted. And I'm telling you, my eyes are watering. Oh, my God. Look, I got to get you a different dog food or something. I know my conversation wasn't that interesting tonight, because people don't want to hear about the bullshit that's going on. They want to hear good things, Like I said, I'm not going to turn around and make a video of wood carving or something like that. There's so many people so much better than me, So I talk, and I hope I don't bore people too much. It says I have a viewer. Keeps saying, but I think that's YouTube censors watching me or something like that. Who knows? Anyhow, we're coming up to the end, and I might be back. I'm going to start doing them during the week if something important happens because I've got nowhere to go. I'm just sitting around the house, I'm looking for podcast equipment right now. See how much it costs, and the hosting service and everything for that, But we'll find out about that down the road. Anyhow, it's time for me to say goodnight, and we'll talk again next week. All right, you all take care now.